When was the last time you made a choice that was truly yours? Not inspired by a trend, not influenced by people, not shaped by what everyone else was doing, but genuinely yours. We live in a world where repeating others is easier than choosing for ourselves. Watch, copy, imitate, repeat. Today, opinions decide what we believe. Paths decide what we choose. And sometimes, without us even realizing it, they even decide who we become. We are following more than ever. But are we actually leading our own lives? A few years ago, I noticed something uncomfortable about myself. I wasn't failing. I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't me either. On the outside, everything looked fine. I was doing what a good student should do. I was staying on track, I was saying the right things, but inside, something felt off. Imagine being just 13 years old and being told that the next 2 years of your life and career depend on a few boxes you tick on a form today. That was me. While everyone else seems to have their 5-year plans and dream universities mapped out, I was standing feeling completely lost. I wasn't ready to choose my future because I didn't know who I was yet. I felt utterly alone in my confusion. And so in that silence of not knowing who I was, I stopped looking inward for answers, and instead deciding that if I couldn't be certain, I could at least look impressive. And so I was choosing subjects because they sounded impressive. I liked things because everyone else liked them. I said yes to paths that didn't excite me, simply because they were popular, safe, or expected. But one day, I asked myself a question that stopped me in my tracks. If everyone stopped watching me, would I still be doing this? The honest answer was no. That realization scared me because it meant I wasn't designing my future, I was copying someone else's. It meant I was building a life based on applause instead of purpose. And the worst part, I hadn't even noticed when I stopped choosing for myself. We are taught from a young age that copying is bad in school. Don't cheat, stop copying others, use your own ideas. But strangely, outside the classroom, it's rewarded. If a video goes viral, thousands recreate it. If one career becomes successful, millions chase it. If one version of success is praised, we all try to squeeze ourselves into it, even when it doesn't fit. We scroll, we compare, we imitate, and we call it normal. But here's the truth we don't talk about enough. A copied life can never feel fulfilled. Why? Because it was never chosen. So why do we copy? Because copying feels safe. When you follow, you don't risk judgment. When you blend in, you don't stand out enough to fail. When you copy, you can always say, everyone else did that too. Copying gives us excuses. It gives us cover. It gives us comfort. But safety comes at a cost. It costs originality, it costs passion, and eventually, it costs you. At one point, I decided to unfollow, not on social media, but in my mindset. I unfollowed expectations, comparisons, and the pressure to become a version of success that wasn't mine. And let me be honest, it wasn't easy. Choosing your own path means choosing uncertainty. It means people won't always understand you and always being asked, why aren't you doing what everyone else is doing? It means disappointing some people and doubting yourself more than once. There were moments when I wondered if I was making a mistake, when the safe path looked tempting again, when blending in felt easier than standing alone. But something incredible happened when I stopped copying. I realized something important. The voice I had been trying so hard to hear had been there all along. It was just buried under noise, noise from expectations, comparisons, and the fear of not fitting in. But I started listening to my curiosity, to my instincts, to the quiet ideas that don't shout loud enough to trend, but are powerful enough to change a life. I began to feel excited again, not because something was popular, but because it felt right. And for the first time in a long time, my choices started to feel like they belonged to me. Let me ask you another question. What would you do if you weren't afraid of being different? Would you create instead of imitate? Explore instead of repeat? Would you choose growth over approval? How many dreams have we delayed because they weren't normal? Interests we have hidden because they weren't cool. And paths we have ignored because they didn't come with a guarantee. We often believe that the future belongs to the loudest voices or the most followed accounts. But history tells a different story. Every major breakthrough came from someone who didn't fit in. Someone who was told, that's unrealistic. Someone who didn't follow the script. Unfollowing doesn't mean rejecting the world. It means engaging with it intentionally. It means learning from others without becoming them. It means using inspiration as a starting point, not a final destination. It means understanding that your uniqueness is not a weakness. It's your greatest advantage. Because no one else can offer the world your perspective. No one else can build your future. And no algorithm can predict what can happen when someone decides to think for themselves. So today, I want to leave you with this challenge. Unfollow what doesn't align with who you are becoming. The idea that success looks the same for everyone. And the fear of standing alone. And instead, follow curiosity, follow purpose. Follow the version of yourself that feels real, not rehearsed. Because in a world that copies, the bravest thing you can do is choose your own future. Thank you.